About that, I'm still getting started with this. Not super great at starting live streams, but here we are. Sorry for the being a bit late, but here we are. Today I'm only planning on doing just some light, easy dungeons on my my star collar here with Salome because it's Valentine's Day and there's nothing else Valentine's Day related about this except having the rosy idol on. So feel free to ask any questions you have about Aura Kingdom, and I'll do my best to answer on the fly if I can. But otherwise, it's just going to be me, little Chib, Salome, and some dungeons. But it's been a fun morning. I was trying to fix my audio for the last 45 minutes after I thought I got a good setup, and then I screwed it up. Since this is the first time I'm using my new mic setup. And I don't really know what I'm doing for audio setup. But welcome, and like I said, if you got any questions, just ask away. Yep. Buff. So I'll be playing today with my controller because it's chill dungeons, and chill dungeons means not touching the keyboard. I really don't like that guy with the ice. He takes me out of my star collar a lot. Oh, that's right. I was going to use a fancy charm. And put my manual in my auto potion slot. It's just a one-day manual from the last free pack that we got. So, last week I put out the video that I was working on for 2 weeks with all of the profession stuff. That was a really long, challenging project, and I think it turned out pretty good. But I was really exhausted, and then it went into 4 12-hour shifts at work, so I couldn't get anything done this week. I just wanted to rest after that. Rough week at work too, as if it's ever not. But I don't know, there's just something relaxing about grinding out dungeons. I should have tried recruiting. If any of you guys are in game and you want to join the party, let me know. Guess we could zoom in a little bit so you can actually see Salome doing nothing because I have her on the wrong mode. Because I'm playing with the controller, sometimes when there's a bunch of mobs, it's hard for me to target the right one. Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I said Q&A, but I guess nobody's really got any questions for Aura Kingdom related stuff. Earlier today, someone had asked on one of the videos about whether or not the game is free-to-play friendly, and I've been thinking about how to respond to that for a couple hours now, and oh, my nebula failed. Come on. Okay, I got it. And I mean, I guess the thing that makes it difficult to say whether or not the game is free-to-play friendly is that in my head, I feel like I don't spend money. Thanks for the question. I think I like regular tier better because the blue is one of my favorite colors, though you would never have been able to tell based on the way that my character is here. But yeah, just because I don't actually ever really intend to spend much money on like microtransactions or games, I feel like I would say that there's free-to-play friendly ways to play the game. But I've also been playing for a decade, so I've built up a large base of what it took to get this far. So maybe MMOs just really aren't the right kind of genre to try and put a label on it. It's hard to say, right? Like, what makes an MMO free-to-play friendly? Do people prefer if all the cosmetics are locked behind transactions? Because I think that cosmetics are a really important part of self-expression in video games, but certainly that's better than selling straight up power. Maybe by the end of this 2 to 3 hour live stream, I'll have an answer for whether or not I think Aura Kingdom is free to play friendly, but I'm gonna end up just talking to myself for an hour, aren't I? I suppose I could probably use some experience cards, huh? May as well. Almost out of LP too, because I spent so much last night on the shop reset. But MMOs are kind of inherently a grind, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that I find a little bit enjoyable. The most important thing is whether or not you're having fun, obviously. So, for me, when the gameplay itself is inherently fun without without having to even concern yourself with, like, what exactly you're accomplishing. Like, I just find it really satisfying and fun the way that the timing works and the skills get input in this game. I find that fun. So in that sense, I'm enjoying the grind of getting, what, 0.2% of a experience per dungeon run? Because I'm just here to spawn a giant nebula on a whole bunch of mobs? Hey there, Jokin. Yeah, I think it's, I think that's the important part, right? Like, if the way that the game is framed is such a way that you don't have fun, or certain things are locked behind a paywall that literally, without putting money down, you can't actually start playing, or can't enter those areas, that's completely different from even just selling straight up power. But yeah, so for me, when I'm playing this grind here, which is absolutely a grind. I think I started at about 10%, although I know my character is covering the percent marker. I'm looking like probably ending these 2 hours at 15% max, if that. But it's just taking some time to relax and play and just kill a bunch of stuff. That's the part that I find to be fun. So, in a discussion of MMOs, I think it is really hard to say whether or not one answer of if it's free to play, friendly, or not is always going to fit everybody. Because if, for example, you were kind of just crushing your way through a dungeon and not finding the actual act of the combat fun, then, like, what's the point, right? Doesn't matter whether or not you were strong enough. But when someone asks, is it free to play friendly, what they really mean is that it's going to cost me $1 million to be able to solo dungeons, and hello, Coffee Latte. I love your name. Your name is excellent. One of the major ways to get more HP would be fortifications, both on accessories, trophies, as well as the star levels on your armor. So I'm just going to kind of hop in here. You can see I've got like 800,000 HP here, but a lot of that comes from the fortifications on my accessories, which I'm using a plus 30 Agni set, as well as a plus 30 code book. You can see the fortifications on accessories and trophies adds both damage and HP. And the other thing you can do is star up your armor. Mine, I've actually only got 3 stars, so it's not a ton. It's only about 2,000, but... And yeah, it is true, Joaquin, that the MMOs are kind of inherently a grind. So I think a lot of people are kind of like taken in by the impression that they get of MMOs, especially from like media. I think anime like Sword Art Online probably inspired a whole lot of people to try an MMO and then immediately feel like they're not making any progress, so they quit. Which is why the importance is finding a game that is just inherently fun. Like, for me, making progress is fun, and I can see that experience bar going up while I'm enjoying the combat and I'm just having fun. But yeah, for real, MMOs actually probably aren't as appealing as they seem to be on first blush. A lot of people think they want to play an MMO and then realize in playing one that they really don't want to actually be in a grind, right? And that's kind of why a lot of MMOs, well, a lot of MMOs don't last. And there's not a lot of new ones being made. I mean, obviously I'm here playing a 10-year-old MMO that I love, right? And coffee latte, if you're looking about upgrading an accessory set, I would recommend trying to get your hands on the Agni set for S5 if you can get a lot of crit damage. But otherwise, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a terrible idea to fortify the level 95 Wild Howl set. I've actually got a plus 30 set of Wild Howl that I use on characters that are lower level or don't have as much crit damage, because that one, not only is it really easy to farm, it's got crit damage and crit damage cap. We can just kind of go in here. This set, the Wild Howl set here with the crit damage and crit damage cap, whereas compared to Agni that only has the crit damage cap on it. Inventory's okay. I used a drop charm, so I gotta be careful that my inventory doesn't get too messy, because I don't have a lot of backpacks on this character either. And I think that's it for here, yeah. It's almost dungeon reset time, though. I should have done more dungeons instead of just the one over and over again. I really like this giant dragon with the teeny character. It's one of my favorite mounts. The other ones that are quite enjoyable are like the motorcycle, because the chib characters can't even reach the handlebars. The Agni set for S level 5 is available in your encyclopedia for exchange, but you will need Sky Tower sigils for it. So if you don't run Sky Tower, you might not be able to get all of it through DP. Ooh. Okay. You know, I should have grabbed the solo quests as well, the Mirabelle solo quests. Another set is coming anyway. You can hardly even tell that I'm using Salome. Even she's not the best lightning eidolon, but I am using her because I put her on the thumbnail, and I figured that was only fair if I'm going to use her for advertising. Although, as a lightning class, normally I would be using Tyr right now. And Tyr is my favorite eidolon. You can tell because I put him on my desk here today. I don't know where this art is from. Some people shared it in the Discord the other day. I really wish that I had a proper source for it, because I don't think it's official. It looks amazing though. I really like it. That's why I made it into a fake figure. Yeah, normally I do use Tyr. He's actually my go-to lightning eidolon. He's my favorite, and I'm not gonna say he's the best because that's a lie, but he's the best in my heart. So normally I would be using him, but like I said, I put Salome on the thumbnail, so I thought she should get a time to shine. Tyr is a really good lightning eidolon. He's not he's not like the number one best one, aside from In My Heart. But he does have everything you need. Like, especially Santa tier, who is actually properly built for lightning damage. But I've heard regular tier argued as one of the better options for playing a physical class, because there really aren't any physical eidolons, and he doesn't have anything super niche or wasted in his kit if you're going for physical damage. But physical is kind of hard to build, so I don't have anybody that I play as physical. The story. I feel like the story kind of went off the rails. On the S25 maps, we ended up going into the Pandemonium side. Like, if you remember, on the level 95 dungeon, there's that gate. Or sorry, not 95. It's level 90? The level 90 dungeon, I think? Or is it... what map is it on? The one with the gates to hell at the end. We actually cross over the other side of that on the level S25 maps. But they kinda wasted the story a bit, because the translation has degraded. It's times like this that we don't know how good we had it with Game You Go. They put a lot more effort into the translation work. So I used to religiously read the story on every single quest when I was going through, and now it's hard to read. Yeah, I know, right? I know we're on the Pandemonium side, because there's three kingdoms, right? You got Azuria, you got the wherever Ace tier is from, and then you've got the Pandemonium side where all the devils are. But yeah, no, I like reading the story. I can't follow the story anymore. And Joquin, you're not wrong about the death shred, but also tier is adorable, so there is that as well that you have to keep in mind when choosing an eidolon. So let's see, if I'm trying to recall the story so far, something along the lines of Vaughn is doing evil stuff and opening up gates and stuff. Dude named Savior is gathering up the relics related to the sins, the 7 deadly sins. I don't know. It's like I said, the translation has really gone downhill, and I'm not gonna lie about that. It sucks. Hey, Joey boy. Oh, Aura Kingdom. Yeah, yes, that is the proper name for it. Ace tier is from the Aura Kingdom side. That's where what's his face went after they all died. Shadow Knight Reinhardt. He went holy. Yeah, no, like I said, I used to follow the story carefully. I just can't anymore. Not a lore master. I think there's about 30 seconds delay on the stream, so sorry about that. I think I'll try setting it up for less latency next time. Like, I'm actually pretty new to the whole streaming thing, so I think lower latency might work better if I'm trying to answer anybody's questions. You know what I haven't used once so far is this. Yeah, Kara's turn's good, and you'll be shocked at how many different color versions she gets. At least 3. She's got at least 3 different colors now. And what's her face? That night lady that we meet in so the level 95 map. That's name is escaping me right now. I'm really tired. The yeah, Rune. She might not be on our side anymore too. That's, I don't know. Like I said, I'm struggling to follow the story now. I just kill stuff and it's fun. You know, I should be linking Eidolons, but uh, after I finish this dungeon, I'll start linking Eidolons. They are running the halftime link event right now, and that also includes getting extra fish kings when you're fishing, as well as an extra gold food item if you max out the gold food crafting. So if you need to craft some food, now's the time. I keep thinking I should work on the some of the achievements for the fishing gear sets that I haven't built up, because right now the only one I've got maxed out is the versatile set. But I just forget when the fish kings start. I see the notification that the fish kings are starting, and it's like, oh, I should have prepared ahead of time. Nebula. And we're about to hit reset, so I may as well just do the... My favorite class overall is Bow. It's the only one I've got at cap level right now. I just find it fun to play. I like the way that it looks. I think Bow is a really cool class, but it is very weak. It really needs a buff. Bow is hard to play because of how outdated it is. Most of the classes have had at least 1 or 2 buffs, and they feel a lot stronger once they've got to that level. Bow needs a 3rd really badly. But in terms of enjoying the way that the combat feels, I am shocked at how much I've been enjoying playing my Stellar Saphir lately. It feels so nice. She's quick, she zooms around, it's flashy, and you have those, the Star Patrol, which is like 3 quick nebulas. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like the charge mechanic on Bow, but it's something that I like quite a bit. I like the way it feels when I play it, which is why it's the only class I've got at cap level right now. But yes, it is true that Guardian does get a rework. Guardian and what's it called? Guardian and Grenadier actually are due for reworks fairly soon. They teased that they were coming quickly a while back, and then they released the S35 cap instead. So I don't really know what they were thinking when they teased it. But not only does it come with a complete rework of like all of their skills, some of the animations get changed, and they unlock the ability for you to play as any of the body types. So like when Stellar Saphir dropped, you can choose any of the body types to play it, like either of the kid genders or the adult, I guess, genders. they're going to enable that on Guardian and Grenadier as well, at the same time that they get a huge rework. I've actually got the notes from the person that runs the database. They posted some notes about all the changes to the skills. It's a lot. Like I said, every single skill gets revamped. Some of them get new animations. It's big rework coming in for those guys. Unfortunately, because it's not a new class, I don't think they'll be adding a new class slot. Like right now we've got 20 character slots, which is enough to play every single class. But because they're just reworking them, I don't think we're going to get new slots for it. So if you want to play as a kid type, you're going to have to start from scratch. And yeah, it is nice. So in my heart of hearts, I'm hoping that we're going to get a rework for Bow that includes that as well. And it'll be huge, and Bow will be like even better, and maybe it'll be top class, and everybody will be playing Bow, and then I'll be like, haha, I'm already cap level Bow, and I'm the best Bow. No, I'm not. Let's see though. Yeah, I think Stellar Sphere is definitely the class that I'm having the most fun playing right now. But I am trying to keep the same level as somebody else, so every time I go and just grind dungeons, they give me side eye. But yeah, my chibi is actually really quite strong. I'm not even using the dragon release here, and I'm pretty much nuking all these bosses. Yeah, one Nebula took out both of the bosses in its duration. Oh. What else is new that's been released on the Taiwan server? I think they had someone was sharing some art of a new Eidolon that just came out. Can't recall the name offhand, but it looked a lot like or both people that shared it with me said that it looked a lot like Raiden Shogun. I see the resemblance in that it's purple hair and kimono, but I don't know. I think people are a little bit too quick to say it's a copy. What was her name? Oh, now I gotta look it up. Maybe not while I'm in the middle of a fight, though. And I forgot to start linking my Eidolons. It's a waste of the 5-minute timer if I don't start. So let's... Okay, Eidolons. My level 80 gigas because I had to max him out when I was doing the video. You do think she looks like Raiden, huh? Of course I know Raiden Shogun. I play Genshin Impact. Where are my Eidolons that I wanted to link? Oh, I left them on another character. Oh well. Yeah, I play Genshin Impact. I think originally I kind of thought that it was an MMO just because when it came out there were so many people talking about it, but it fits into a different niche in my game I don't know, vibe. What's the name of that Eidolon, though? That's going to bother me now. What's the new Eidolon on the Taiwan server named? Eidolons. Taiwan. Yagami Hime? Yagami, written as 8 and up. Yagami Hime, yeah. I got it before Plinko said it in chat, so I remembered it was 8 for the first name. I believe in Japanese it was Genso Shindan or something for Aura Kingdom. Not Genshin, but Genso. It's been a while since I've looked at it. I used to actually check in on the Japanese server when I was looking for new content because I can read a little bit. I can read enough. But it's a lot easier to just use the database and translate it using Google. And of course, Genshin Impact in Japanese, they just call the game Genshin. They don't have Impact in the name at all. I kind of wonder about that. Mm. You can. I just noticed that the R3 click on the controller is pretty noisy on the microphone. Sorry about that. The truth is, I spent half an hour trying to get the audio just right, and then I clicked a button and it screwed everything up and I couldn't get it back. So I then had to spend another 20 minutes trying to get it back. Or it's not yet impacting. I'm not super familiar with the lore of the other Hoyoverse games. Like I'm not familiar with much to do with Honkai Impact. But I was under the impression that the impact part was really important. But who knows? Controller. Oh gosh, you know, the truth is that I really hate those kind of sounds. Like to the point that I basically live in sound canceling headphones because the sounds of just small things really, really irritate me. So I spent a long while getting it perfectly set up so that the filter that I'm using was keeping out all of the controller sounds and the keyboard sounds. And then, like I said, I hit a button and everything got messed up. I don't know what happened. And that was at 15 minutes left till the start time, so I had to quickly fix it. And I didn't fix it properly enough. I'm actually using a PlayStation 3 USB controller. But I manually set up the bindings so that basically it's just mimicking a regular You like to hear the controller? No, the controller is bad. Oh, a couple of weeks ago, somebody told me I should open an ASMR channel. I'm like, no, my voice is bad for that. My recording is bad for that. Mhm. But you know, the being able to play on a controller is really big for me because I work 12-hour shifts. I think I've said that a couple times. And after 12 hours on the computer for work, sometimes you just don't want to touch a mouse and a keyboard anymore. I'm gonna get carpal tunnel. Controller just feels so much better, even though it's a little bit harder to control. And while we're stuck in this cutscene, I can fill up my teacup. I Yeah, I bet you sent that message before I started explaining it, but yeah, the I find keyboards and mouse to be really tough on my arms, especially like I said, after a 12-hour work shift. And my work can get so busy sometimes that it's 12 hours without a break. You just have to keep going or you'll fall behind. And I mean, other days it's so quiet that I sit there and I play games on my phone for 6 hours, but they need people there for 12 hours. Don't tell my boss I said that. Yeah. Saturdays at work vary like wildly from everything is going wrong and you need to make a bajillion calls in for service and stuff, or you know, it's a long shift, but it's shift work, right? So you get a lot more days off, which is probably one of the only reasons that I was able to start making videos is because I get 4-day weekends and 3-day weekends every week. Because I just kind of like to hunker down and get stuff done after work, even if I was only working a regular 8-hour shift. I don't think I'd really want to do anything like working on videos and stuff. I usually just play a little bit to cool off and make dinner and then go to bed. There was people in Navio when I was there earlier. Whoop. This guy's just pushed me right away from the boss. Oh, your name. I didn't see your new. Uh, Good afternoon, Sarah. There's still people in Navia, and I saw some people talking in the Discord about how they feel like there's not much stuff in the auction house, but I usually find the things that I'm looking for in there when I'm looking. So, and we're done here. So we can go back to the icy place, or I can move on to the next one. I think I'll stick with the icy place one more time. I could also run the S15 dungeons, but they're not really chill enough to run on a controller easily. And this is supposed to be chill time, so no working hard. Just chill. And you know, the other thing someone said in the Discord this morning was that they didn't see anybody with stalls open anymore. And I kind of agree that I don't like stalls because I don't really like leaving my computer running just for that, right? I'd rather put stuff in the auction house and call it a day, because if I'm not at my computer, I'd rather my computer was off. Don't want to pay for that electricity. Oh right, yeah, Otherworlds. I always forget about them because they're so the S15 Otherworlds are like remarkably easy. Nope, got distracted. I should finish a thought before I start with another one. But yeah, I don't really like the stalls because I don't want to leave my computer on when I'm not there. Just to sell stuff when I could put it in the auction house. I'd really rather turn off my computer and just be done with it. And if I'm in game, I wanna play. Yep. Get out of here. The benefit of stalls is supposed to be that you don't have to pay the auction house fee. But yeah, I never liked them. Plus they're a pain to look through, right? It is true that there used to be a lot of people that were in the stalls. But I mean, I don't even really like cubing anymore. I used to cube when I was working from home because like my computer is on, I'm here, may as well, right? But I don't even really like doing that anymore if I'm not at my computer because, like I said, it's you're using electricity, right? I'd like to use it for something that I'm enjoying. Although I did leave on my computer overnight once when I was trying to get to S35 on my bow. But only because there was I got a very unfortunate rank on the last cap and I wanted to get a better one this time. Just thinking about my rank. Wait. Fish bat? You mean bait? For 9k? Oh. Ooh. I'm fairly sure that's the weapon that I'm using on my wizard right now, so I can use that to help stir it up. Bait? For 9,000 G, wow. But you know, back in the day, gold was just kind of gold was a different beast. I remember I spent 60,000 G on one costume because I really liked it, and I'm pretty sure now it's in the LP store. Hold on, let me check. Body costume. Let's see, is it here? Oh, maybe it's not anymore. I could have sworn it got put in here, but maybe I feel slightly better. You know, it's funny because I actually don't even wear it anymore, but it was my favorite costume on bow. Let's see. Let's just take that off and make it easier to search. It's newer than that. Where'd you go? This one. This costume. The cyberpunk female costume. I spent 60,000 G on that back in the day because the only place that you could get it was on the tiered spender. So basically, you had to buy it off of a player that had spent enough money to reach the tier that it was on. And they don't do tiered spender anymore, which I get it. I didn't like the tiered spender as a monetization mechanic. Now they do tiered purchasing, so you get the bonus if you just buy the premium currency. You don't have to actually spend it. But yeah, I spent 60k on that costume just because I really liked it. I could have definitely spent 60k on something much more valuable even back then. It was a lot. That is true. And the other day I was being silly and I spent 4,000 on I bought some Rainbow Paragon tokens off of somebody else. I don't even know why I did it. It was a dumb idea in the first place. I'm addicted to gambling. What can I say? But yeah, I bought some of those packs out of the auction house for 4k. So there goes my my Odin savings. Odin being one of the new Eidolons that's coming up soon. He's a very cool looking storm dude. I could have sworn the cyberpunk costume was in the LP store though. Maybe it was and it got removed at some point. It makes me feel slightly better about it. You know, that's actually one of the things that I struggle with in Genshin Impact is that I've gone overboard with the gacha before. Not in a I've ruined my life and I can't afford my mortgage, but I have definitely spent a lot more than I should have. And I did mention it in the video that I did about Aura Kingdom's monetization. But I do appreciate that there's nothing with like fancy animations or extra sound effects and that kind of stuff. The gacha just doesn't try to tickle your brain in the same way that modern gachas do. And even then I still make dumb decisions. At least it's only with in-game currency here. I have spent a little bit, but definitely not more than like $25 one month and maybe another $25 another month, and I completely stopped since I stopped spending any money since like 2022? Yeah, it's been a couple years. Am I? Oh yeah, I'm still playing Genshin Impact. I've just I play 4 accounts so I can gamble more without spending too much money. Yeah. I have 1 account that I do spend a little bit on, and 3 accounts that I don't spend any money on, and that's how I make it through without losing my mortgage money. Right? I know, it's depressing and sad. But I find in the same way that I enjoy how the combat feels in Aura Kingdom, I focused on characters that I thought were fun to play on different accounts, and then I can just enjoy playing as various characters on various accounts. It's fun. As long as I'm being careful not to spend money. That's really what it comes down to, right? Definitely would not be able to do that if I was working a regular 8-hour job. There wouldn't be enough hours in a day, but yeah, on work days I only play my main account for Genshin and Aura Kingdom. Then on non-work days I play everything all day for the entire day. My life is perfectly normal. I touch a lot of grass. I don't. Hmm. Just spilling myself as a completely. Is that the only gacha game I play? There is one more, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I don't want to say. But in general, I think gacha games take up a lot of time, and I'm already playing so many Genshin accounts just to keep that gambling urge under control that any more would be too much. I used to play Tales of the Rays. The English server stopped like ages ago, so I was playing on the Japanese server, which is it's a mobile game only. It doesn't have a computer version because I'm a big Tales of fan. But yeah, even that I kind of dropped off because I'm not fluent in Japanese. I'm only like functional. And the story started getting so convoluted I couldn't follow what was going on anymore without spending like too long looking up kanji for every chapter, so I ended up dropping that. And that was before Genshin came out too. I think it was probably around the same time that I picked up Genshin that I stopped playing Tales of the Rays. Oh, we got a Eidolon spawn. You know, the thing I liked most about playing Tales of the Rays on the Japanese server was that because I was using, like I had to use a Japanese account to be able to access it, my credit cards and stuff wouldn't work to even try and make microtransactions, so I was just locked out of making them entirely. Uh, Tales of the Rays was a, I mean, I guess it's a game that uses up all the Tales of characters from like all the different games in that series. So kind of like a, I guess not too far off of like Fate Grand Order or whatever it is, where it's like characters that exist in the series that they've put in another game, right? But I'm a big fan of Tales of games, so I knew all the characters and they had a really intriguing story. But yeah, they if I tell you that one of the rules is you could only have 3 clones of the same character and we were already at the limit for more than one character, that's the level of complicated the story was getting when I said, no, I'm not looking up any more kanji today. We're done. Actually, I think we got a eh, evasion. I should put that back in my warehouse too. You know, the other game that I played before that was Tales of Link. Like, again, it's one of the Tales of ones. But I thought the story in that game was amazing. And then that too ended. even on the Japanese server. When I was playing Tales of the Rays, they didn't have any sort of pity system. There was none, like literally nothing. It was just if you're lucky, you'll get the one you want, and if not, well, I guess that sucks. But they eventually did implement like a pity or fragment system in that game as well. After I quit, I went back in just to see how things were going because I just kind of wanted to see how it was going. Like probably somewhere around 2022 or so. And they had implemented some kind of pity system, but I didn't feel like grinding anymore, so I just uninstalled again. But gacha games just take too much time, right? Like, especially if you're trying to stick to free to play. It's hard to play more than one at once. I actually tried Tower of Fantasy specifically for when I was making my video about comparing Aura Kingdom's monetization system with the way that gacha works in more modern games. I literally played it just for the purpose of getting to the first gacha roll. And I don't know, it just... That game didn't really clinch me. I felt like the animation was super cool. Like, and the way that the game looked was nice. But it just didn't get me in the same way that Aura Kingdom and Genshin Impact did. You need to clean inventory pretty quickly here. Yeah, I guess Genshin Impact really was the first gacha game that I actually ever spent money on. Tales of Asteria! Actually, that's one that I didn't try. Hold on, why didn't I try it? Is that the one with the cards? You know what? I did try it. I did play it for a bit, but it was, I felt like I started way too late. In gacha games, I feel like starting late when the meta's kind of already developed, so to speak. Like when everybody's got like 7,000 cards in their inventory and you're like, I just need to start rolling immediately. Oh yeah, like playing on the Japanese server isn't a problem. I understand enough Japanese to play games in Japanese. It's just that once the more voiceover there is, the better, because kanji is definitely my weakest ability in terms of like reading Japanese. Nowadays, the optical character recognition has gotten so good that I could just take a screenshot and then use optical character recognition to read the lines, or to read the kanji and search them quickly, rather than having to use like the Chinese keyboard to draw them myself and look it up in my dictionary app. But When there's voiceover, it's a lot easier. That's for sure. I think Asteria did have a lot of voiceover, especially in the earlier chapters, though, didn't it? Yeah, I only played that one for a really short period of time, though. I used to play it at my desk when it was quiet, and then it stopped being quiet. Oh, am I completely forgetting that I also play Star Rail? I think I am. But I don't like Star Rail. I love the music. I love the characters. I don't like the gameplay. I'm not big on turn-based combat anyway. I wonder if I could beat BLD. I'm gonna try. BLD is a really challenging dungeon because the second to last boss, the robot guy, has a shield that requires like 300 hits to break. So I might need to pull out like Otohime or something. But we may as well try, right? I might have to switch to keyboard though. Is Fate Grand Order a turn-based? I kind of feel like it would have to be, right? Does it, I mean, does it have live combat? I've never even looked into it, because I feel like the more I look into something and decide to give it a try, the more risk there is in terms of my gambling addiction. I don't hate turn-based games categorically. I did really enjoy Persona 5. Not that that's like your average turn-based game. I also really liked a couple of the entries of the Atelier series that had turn-based systems. I thought they were really enjoyable, but it's hard to get a turn-based system that actually feels satisfying to play rather than just being a completely mechanical decision of optimization, I guess. Which sounds like a weird way of putting it, but I'm kind of playing brain dead a lot of the time. I don't want a game that I can just put it on auto and turn away from, right? And a lot of turn-based games have that. And what's the fun in that anyway? What game was it? Mana Chemia. I really liked the turn-based combat in Mana Chemia Student Alliance, and that's like obscurely or super niche, absurd game, I bet, that nobody will have ever played, but they kind of did the same thing in Atelier Esca and Logi. Like that felt like a super good development on the same system. And those were turn-based games that I liked. I mean, obviously Persona as well, but I'm just most turn-based games, especially ones that have an auto button, I can't. I don't find it fun. Anyway, let's go die in BLD. And I'm gonna have to put away the controller for this. Let's see, we probably want Otohime. And I don't have Persephone available, so it's gonna be Gear. It's a decent combo of Eidolons. I've got a healer, I've got a lightning damage, and then Otohime. I could probably pull out a contract, but whatever. Cutscene was too long. I haven't been here in a while. I think I wasted my release. Eh? On one hand, I do kind of get the feeling of just wanting to see progression, even if it comes by hitting a button and then looking away while the game plays itself. Like, I do get enjoying the feeling of making progress, because if I didn't, why would I be sitting here grinding the same dungeons for 2 hours? I mean, besides the fact that I enjoy playing. But the amount of people that use cubes does suggest to me that the ability to make progress without having to interact with the game does make some people feel like they've enjoyed their experience. I don't know how to put it into words very well. But if the entirety of my experience with the game is flipping on the autoplay and then moving along to do something else, that's not what I'm here for. I probably should have killed a tower first. These are counted as elites, huh? I don't even know if the totems respawn, but we'll try that. Yeah, the totems respawn. See that I'm getting hit pretty hard here. There we go. Doesn't the little dragon release can't handle? Yeah. But it's this next guy that I'm concerned about. This isn't chill dungeons anymore, this is serious dungeon time. And I'm gonna need to wait until my dragon wings reset if I want any chance of being able to beat him. So we'll take it nice and slow until we get there. Do I have any more buffs that I can use? Ooh! I don't think the last boss is going to be the problem. I think it's going to be the next guy. Normally I would use Persephone to kind of avoid taking any damage, but I don't have her right now. She's on my main character. She's on my bow, so it's just me and Tyr. I got Salome and Otohime to help with the survivability, but that's not really the most ideal option, and I couldn't recharge my entire dragon wings, so this might suck. Yeah. That was a long stun. Maybe I'll stick that there. Yeah, there's no way for me to get out of range when when he uses that, so my only option is to not be in a position where I'm about to die. That was the wrong Eidolon. Come on. Oh, shoot. That was not good. Ah. Okay, what can I do to be a little stronger? So much for chill. Huh? SV? I'm not sure what you mean by SV. This is the dungeon Bloodlord's Demonium. He's the S15 dungeon with 4 bosses. What can I do to be stronger? Right here, right now. Probably a contract, right? Oh, I can use my certificate. That doesn't seem bad. Oh, this is the official English server. Alright, I'll throw my nightmare certificate back in here. Alright, I got Yarun contract, and my 7% more crit damage, and let's see if that's enough to actually get through this. I think I'll only give it 3 tries, though, because this is a... I didn't think I'd be able to beat it in the first... Oh, I can use all my buffs here. That's not gonna help. That's gonna help. I don't think 3% evasion will do much, but why the heck not? Okay. Ready to die. Well, that didn't... was a bad start. Eh. It's like awakening all over again. Oh gosh. But hey, at least if I can get Nebula on him before he does that, I don't... One more try, and then I'm gonna keep going with the actual chill dungeons, because this is not chill. Look at this poor cutie and what we're putting her through. She looks like she's about to cry. Actually, I've always thought that was kind of weird. That the face that I picked for my character looks like she's constantly about to cry. Let's see, where's my Yarun again? Yarun. And yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have any other buffs that'll actually do anything. I don't need those. The run of shame. Okay, so this time I'm gonna trigger this here. That's the I think I needed a nebula there. Ah, I was actually not doing too bad that time. See, this is where Salome might actually not be a bad choice. I'm gonna do it one more time, and then I'm gonna go back to my chill dungeons because my heart rate is getting too high. But if how is Salome's uptime on? That's not bad. I could probably swap Salome and Otohime in and out. If you swap Eidolons too quickly, it'll show that their cooldown resets or hasn't reset completely, and it'll go back to their full cooldown time. So, like, if I use Obscure Mist and then I wait too long, it'll and I switch back to her before the cooldown is reset, it'll actually show the full cooldown time, but it doesn't actually stop you from reusing it at the actual time. That didn't make any sense, but basically there's a glitch where when you swap Eidolons, if the cooldown on their skills isn't fully reset, it shows the full cooldown starting again, but it doesn't actually apply. You can still reuse the skill manually by clicking on it, even if the cooldown says that it's still active. And manually triggering cooldowns, or manually triggering your Eidolon skills, is kind of the key to getting through really tough stuff. And now that I think about it, I could probably make use of the combo skills a bit here too. But I've also got my Dragon Wings charged now. So I think... Oh shoot, I've got to use one skill before it'll let me actually use it. Come on, Salome! Right, so it says that it's on cooldown, but if I spam it, it'll still let me use it when the cooldown would have reset. It did! Yes! Okay, okay. Now let me be proven wrong and that the next boss is actually the hardest one. It only took 3 tries. Yeah. Of course, now I'm going into this without any Dragon Wings charged, so that's not ideal. It would be a lot easier with Persephone, but she's on a different character right now, so I can't do anything about that. Oop, didn't mean to use that on that. Hey there, Abram! Yeah. Easy. Alright. honestly, just use another nebula on it. Sorry, just have to celebrate a little bit because I didn't think I could beat that on this character. We actually had a huge discussion earlier in the chat or earlier in the stream because I was actually thinking a lot about what makes a game like an MMO specifically pay to win there, Domenico. Because like in my opinion, the part of the game that's important is whether or not you're having fun in the combat itself, right? Like, so if the main portion of the game is that you're playing and you're killing things, if you're not finding any enjoyment in that part of the game at all, then it doesn't matter whether or not paying money or not paying money would give you more eidolons. For example, in the example of Aura Kingdom, eidolons would probably be the main thing that you're going to end up spending money on if you're spending money, right? So I think, in my opinion, when I was playing on my completely fresh account that had absolutely no eidolons, it had absolutely none of the benefits that comes from having played an account that's 10 years old, I still enjoyed the combat the same amount. I still enjoyed going around and getting eidolon fragments from the free-to-play ones. I still enjoyed all of that, but it's grindy. So if you're going into an MMO on the thought process of, I'm going to solo all of these dungeons all by myself, I'm going to gather up every single item in the game, you might not be able to do that if you don't enjoy the grind. Loyalty points work the same way. Sorry, I know that there's a little bit of delay, but in the LP store, you've got a pretty good selection of costumes. The only thing is that it doesn't have any for the small boy type characters, because that was really recently released. But you've got tons of cosmetics that are available for LP. Your options for farming LP aren't too bad because you can go into the into various solo mode dungeons, or once you've hit level 101, you can join in with people doing the Vault of Eternity. You can see some people recruiting for it over here. Oh, I guess I turned off the mouse so you can't see my mouse anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can get with the in-game currency, including eidolons that used to be cash-only eidolons. These ones didn't used to be in-game at all. They now spawn in various places, so you can farm them there too. But if you're only going to have fun with a game if you spend money on it, then I'm going to say that that's what makes it not free to play. Because the important thing is whether or not you're having fun with the way that the game actually feels to play, right? That's not really a very good answer, I'm sorry. If the most important thing is that you want to have every single item in the entire game, every single eidolon in the entire game, you're not going to have fun playing Aura Kingdom. But it's not as if the combat itself becomes more fun if you spend a whole bunch of money. I don't know if that helps. I think it's a really nuanced topic because, like I said, I've been playing the game for 10 years, so my account has a lot of things that your average person isn't going to be able to get free to play. And I have spent money in the past. Not a ton. I'm absolutely not a whale, but it's a very nuanced thing, I think. And that's why, if it was you that asked the question earlier on one of the videos, that's why I hadn't responded yet, is because I was trying to come up with a way to express how I feel about it in terms of free-to-play ability. My personal experience, like I said, is that there's a lot of grind if you're going to play free, but that's kind of what an MMO is, right? So if you don't enjoy grinding, you might not enjoy MMOs in general, not just specifically Aura Kingdom, or playing as free-to-play. Oh, don't spam whale emotes. I'm not a whale. In the loyalty shop, every week you can buy the gambling tokens, and the majority of my eidolons came from gambling on the Paragon for myself, using those free-to-play tokens. And here's where I guess I have to admit something. When Aura Kingdom was still under, what do you call it, Gamego, I was one of the senior game sages with them. And after one of the stream events, one of the staff members at Gamego gave me the key for Summer Iwanaga as a thank you for everything that I had put in to help out with that. I didn't do it because they were going to give me free stuff, but one of their staff members did that, and I don't even know who it was. But she's really pretty, and I like her. And that is one Eidolon that I didn't get in a way that was free-to-play friendly for anybody else, so that's just the one thing, right? But I'm not a whale in Aura Kingdom. Actually, I forgot what dungeon we're on. What dungeon is next? I still had more at Obscure Temple, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay, back to the relaxing grind, leaning back with my controller and not struggling to kill stuff. And because, like I said, Salome's on the thumbnail, so today I was going to grind with Salome. Very Valentine's Day, right? I had to cover it up a bit on the thumbnail. Yeah. I also lied about something else. In the stream title, I said that it was supposed to be Chill Dungeons and Coffee, but the truth is, because I had those audio issues right leading up to the stream, instead of using the last 15 minutes to make myself a nice pot of coffee, I had to make a pot of tea instead. I'll have to change the name of the stream after I close it to say that it was with tea instead of coffee. I'm such a letdown. Keep coming back to that though. Free to play friendly. I mean, I really enjoy grinding the game, so maybe I'm just like the wrong person to talk to. And yes, you're right, coffee is better than tea under normal circumstances, but I have a manual I have a manual grinder, so I have to grind it with arm strength. And then I have a manual press, so I make espresso using a manual press, which involves a lot of, again, prep with the with all of the equipment, so you can line it up and get it ready to go. Because you have to heat it up as well. It's not an electric machine. It's just literally a lever that you pull down on and use your arm to generate the pressure for the espresso. And if I want a latte, I need to heat up water in a little steamer on the stove. So making coffee is about a 15-minute process in my house. I guess I could have done a French press of just regular coffee, but yeah. And look, you distracted me again from the free-to-play friendliness. Coffee is an art in this household. Maybe I should call it my hobby. I don't know that hand presses for espresso are really old school. I'm pretty sure the one that I use was actually a Kickstarter in the past. I didn't get it when it was on Kickstarter. But there's something nice about having like a ritual, so to speak, for making the coffee. It's not just like you press a button. There's a lot to it, right? It makes it feel like a process that's worth it in the end. But tea, for me, tea is, I've got a pot, I've got a hot water tap, and I put the hot water in the pot, and voila, I got tea. And by that I mean I've got a boiling water tap. I figured I'd only get about 5% experience today, but I'm already at 6.5 done in this stream. And that's just from dungeoning, no quests. So, at level 19, or S19, an hour and a half of just dungeoning will get you about 150 gold, because I started the stream with 400 gold. And 6.5% experience. And if I was running with other people, I would get more experience, because you get an experience buff for every player inside your party. But because I'm playing with my controller instead of using the keyboard, I'm a little bit all over the place. Like, you guys can't see my cursor. I could turn that on and you can see how weird my cursor looks when I'm playing. Where is it? There you go, now you can see my cursor. So, like, I use the D-pad to move the cursor while I'm playing. And then I use the I know my left and right. I use the right stick to control the camera. Back and forth. But that's because it's actually the turn button. There's actually buttons for turning on the key that you can bind on the keyboard. So that's how I got the left and right camera motion. And then the up and down camera motion is actually a real weird workaround. It clicks and moves the mouse. So it can screw stuff up if I'm not being careful about the mouse position. That's why the D-pad moves the mouse around. And left and right are faster than up and down, because when you're trying to select stuff in quests, it's easier to hit the buttons when up and down is slower. But yeah, in general, I'm a lot slower getting through dungeons when I'm playing on a controller. Right, so I switched to using the hand mouse just to get into the dungeon faster. Yeah, once you can see what's going on with my mouse, it's really weird. And yeah, it's hard to target stuff, so I often, like, end up slowing down. You know, I should have used more experience buffs. I did when we started, but they wore off and I didn't think to use them again because I'm really smart. I could pop one of these. Once I turn on the cursor visibility, you can really tell when I let go of the controller. There we go. Is that the right debuff? Oh, I guess there's the winged duke at the end of this dungeon. Yeah, after passing BLD, nothing really every single other dungeon in this that's accessible to my character right now feels like a nice chill dungeon. I should probably at least use an advanced one too, huh? Really low on LP only because I'm fortifying my armor right now. So I spent 20,000 LP on superior armor fortifications yesterday, or rather last night. I usually farm LP by doing bond dungeons. And I find those to be a pretty good way to get a good enough LP every week to afford everything, but just because I've been buying so many of these Quest XP books recently, it really eats away at my LP quite quickly. But oh, no, this one. I bought the chibi hair because it's cute and I wanted the quest experience buff while it was on there. So I figured it wouldn't be worth doing all these quests without using absolutely every resource. So I leveled, gosh, I did main quests on like 4 characters using quest experience books on every single one. That's why I've got so low LP right now. Normally bonds is enough to keep me at a couple, like 2 or 3,000 every week, or 20 or 30,000 every week. After buying everything that I need. There's really not much experience here. Let's see, if I move over here and move up my desk, you can see, there, now you can see my experience. It was like, what, 0.015% for killing a boss? But it feels weird when I'm not sitting on solid ground, so put that back. Well, I do bond dungeons every night on 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 characters. And they all drop 100 and 200 LP scrolls, so I get plenty of LP from that normally. When I was doing the video, I spent a lot of time obviously recording and editing, so I was a little bit behind on farming LP in that respect. And then, like I said, I bought the fancy hair that was on the top trend so that I could get more quest experience for just a little while. And then I quested the heck out of it. And you may as well make use of all your resources, or every buff you can. I just see I didn't put the desk down low enough. Hold on. Stop killing me so I can fix my desk. There was my cursor. Estos, if that's how you say your name. I'm glad I was able to help you. I started making the video after I did the newbie videos after I leveled up my own Ravager on a completely fresh account, because I wanted to get an idea of what it was like for new players to start Aura Kingdom right now, and I was really surprised at how much stuff you get now, how much easier it is nowadays compared to the past. But I also realized how much stuff just isn't explained, so I mean, obviously I'm a moderator in the Discord, so I answer a lot of questions on a daily basis anyway. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put it all together in a nice place where people could get it on demand. Like, it's shocking that the game never tells you what those golden shields do. Like, in the early game, they definitely put a lot more effort into the tutorials of how things work. And then in the later game, it's just suddenly there's a gold shield on mobs, and if you're not paying attention, you'll find you're not doing any damage at all. So the next video that I was planning on making was either talking about farming gold or just a collection of tips and tricks that I've gathered up over the years of playing. Or just things you might not have noticed, like I wonder how many new players don't know that there's an extra tab in your warehouse if you scroll one over. Because it never tells you. Or heck, even the, it doesn't even tell you about the trends anywhere in the game. And the Eidolon fortune telling, I don't think it ever introduces you to that, which, now that I think about it, I could probably run that right now. Every day you can get a free 3-hour buff. I mean, it's random, but hey, there's achievements there. So yeah, next week, probably not going to be releasing any big videos because it's my my long work week, which means I have to work. Hello, Amadane. Whoop. Well, originally I was only planning on going for like 2 to 3 hours. And I am already out of tea. Yeah, it's true that there is a lot of there's a lot of stuff that if you don't know to look, you might not even notice. Like, a lot of the time will have players that accidentally switch their gear tab, and then it's suddenly like, oh my gosh, all my stuff is missing, where did it go? Because it's actually bound on F10, 11, and 12, so you can accidentally tap them if you're not paying attention, and then it looks like your gear is all gone. So I could totally see how people accidentally lose all of their gear. Personally, I use my secondary gear tabs to lower my HP so that I can put things in my auto potion slot here. Right now I've got that 1-day manual. Yeah, I'm not normally this strong. I used a 1-day manual because I wanted it to be really chill in my dungeons today. But yeah, normally if I've got like a whole bunch of LP. Hey now, you could have way more HP than this. You just have to build for HP, right? I'm using full plus 30 accessories and trophies, so it's not... It's not like anybody can just be at 1,000,000 easy. I think I'm at 1,000,000 outside of dungeons right now, with Eidolon out. Where'd Salome go? This is false advertising. I brought everybody into the stream with Salome on the thumbnail and then I didn't even use her? Or I let her die? Inventory space, though. So if you're looking for inventory space, the 20 slot backpacks drop in price every time they're on Paragon. But you can also use the LP store to get some. Low-level mats probably aren't worth keeping. And yes, I do have a sizable Eidolon collection as well. I guess I could just go here. I got 119 Eidolons. And I've said it a couple times, so just take my word for it, please. I'm actually not a whale. I haven't spent any money in this game for a couple of years now because the economy is bad and I'm struggling to save as much money as I'd like for a rainy day. But I have been playing this game since the open beta with way back when it was Area. Well, there was someone recently in the Discord that made a very good point about how the Rainbow Paragon table that's actually currently on, about how they spent a lot of money on it and they didn't get anything. Low-level mats, I'd say, this is probably going to sound kind of bad, but if you're not crafting gear, yeah, anything below 80, Amadare is right. I don't know what level is listed on them. Hold on a second here. The Soul Sucker ore and the Time Silk, you're going to want to keep those. But basically everything else under 80, you probably don't need to keep. Because your main focus, if you're actually planning on starting to craft gear for Awakening, would be your level 90 gear. And even then, when I was playing on my Fresh account, I beat Awakening in the free gear that's handed out to all players in the cube. But definitely the Soul Sucker ore and the Time Silk, you want to keep those. Because those are used for crafting everything for the rest of forever. Oh, you're right, that is true. The 80 stuff does, some of the 80 materials do get used. Once you've got your estate, you can use the otters there to farm the other materials. And if you level up your gathering, does it go up to 80? It might go up, only go up to 70. Like, there's sources for gear. Yeah, I beat, on my Fresh account, where I had no Eidolons, I had no titles, no archive, no nothing. I did a live stream series where I was leveling that up. And I did a bit of grinding as well off stream, but not too much. I was able to pass the Awakening with basically just the gear that you didn't have to craft. I don't think I crafted anything except a level 80 harp. Although in the end, the reason why I used a level 80 harp was because I couldn't get a... Oh, thanks for confirming. It's been a long while since I've had to buy level 7 pre-awakening materials. I don't think there's any reason to do that. I don't think there's any reason to do solos here. This tea doesn't have enough caffeine in it. I really should have made a coffee anyway. Would it have been better to delay the start of the stream by an extra 15 minutes to make a latte, or would it have been better to start on time and be tired? I'm finding out the answer to that now. I don't need any of that. Yeah, I use the gathering shop mostly for Eidolon wishes at this point. I should probably repair too, huh? I'm gonna want to save that. You know, one other thing that I don't think is ever... One thing I don't think that's ever explained in game as well is the use of like alt when you're opening stuff. So you can open up... I don't need these, but you can use alt to open up all of the stack of items at once. It doesn't work on everything, like especially these ones that have cooldowns. You can't use it, but like if you're opening fish... Why? You don't want me to sell my boxes? I don't need them. You think I should have opened them all up and then sold them individually because some things sell for marginally higher? Yeah, I don't need those. Don't need those. They take forever to open and then they just take up space in my inventory. But yeah, you can use on gee, I wish I'd saved one of those boxes. Shall I go back to buy back? There you go. So if you hold alt, you can open up an entire stack all at once. It works on like fish as well. Voila, now my inventory's got 10 spots taken. And also, I guess if you've never seen the buyback, you can also, if you haven't left the map, you can buy back anything that you've sold to an NPC. The other thing you can do is you can put them on your skill bar, yeah, and just mash the buttons. Macros are technically against the rules, and we're on the official server here. Yep. Alright, more dungeons. Is it because it sells for marginally more if you open them? Or because you want to see the stuff inside? Because only the accessory boxes, the pink ones, sell for 10 silver each or whatever. The rest of them, they sell for enough to make it okay to not open them all, in my opinion. Oh, that reminds me, we could also go to... I mean, if you want to get picky about macros, it could be argued that the fact that I'm playing on a controller is also not different from a macro. I've just rebound every button on my controller to be a mouse. Yeah, it's only marginally more though, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think selling boxes is fun. I'd rather spend the time opening up and selling the boxes, fighting stuff. Besides, I've already made 250G just running dungeons. But yeah, I actually do open up the accessory boxes because for some reason they set those to sell for 10 silver or whatever. That's complete nonsense. Unacceptable. So I do open up the accessory boxes when I'm selling those. Yeah, there's just something about playing with a controller, you know? Much more comfortable, easier on my wrists. I mentioned it earlier, but I work very long shifts. I work 12-hour shifts at my job, so after spending 12 hours at a keyboard, sometimes I just want to switch over to give my wrists a chance to relax. And if anybody's got this pumpkin, the summoning contract pumpkin, this was added by area. It wasn't in the Taiwan version as far as I know. So when it transitioned over, we lost the text that says what it does, but it actually gives you an experience bonus for quests, which is why I popped it on there. Anyway, I'd like to do Other Worlds. And yeah, I switched to the mouse when I'm going around between dungeons just because it's easier, but I didn't work today. If I'd been at work, I probably would have stuck with the controller 100%. I wonder if that counts as chill. I remember these guys being like annoying as heck. Maybe I'll just go with Jellybirds to start. Because this is chill time. This is not try hard time. I love how they just melt into eggs. Not the most appetizing eggs, but I suppose I'll give the moles a try too. I may as well. If it's chill, it's chill. I'm gonna say it's chill as long as I don't have to use the dragon wings. If I have to use the dragon wings, we are no longer in chill territory. That's when it gets serious. I do like the Jellybirds. In fact, not to keep going back to it, but when I was playing on my Scrub Ravager, the fresh account, I actually got one of the little Jellybirds as my pet for Awakening. Because they're cute! Even though it was probably not a good use of my LP. I think they're like a couple thousand LP. That reminds me, actually I could be summoning a pet here to make it slightly more chill. Where's Nyan? Oh, my buffs are good. Wow, viewership went up when I started killing little Jellybirds, so that's the secret. Just lure them into the zone of death and watch them turn into eggs. So you got a chance of 4 different bosses here, I believe. So let's see how many we get. incentive against spending on pets. I think the issue is just that in terms of there are a lot of ways to get free pets, right? It was just that I specifically wanted something blue to match my my character. And the jellybirds are cute. Oh geez, this might be a bit much for chill. Oop. This does not feel chill when my HP is falling that much. Ugh. But there's no death penalty, so I can run into death as many times as I like. That's not true. Pets do stuff. You can re-roll them. Get stats. I'm sure it will shock no one that's familiar with the name of this little guy on my desk here, but my favorite pet is the miniature Tyr, who you can get inside the Eidolon Chronicle. Too many otters. Too many otters. Ugh. This is really not controller friendly. I can't really control exactly who I'm targeting because the only option Oh, wow. Caught on stream. Monster gives Rosa-chan 999 flowers. I was here. Another? Oh, geez, somebody is winning the popularity contest. Somebody really loves Rosa-chan. You know, I once won a contest where the prize was 999 bouquets. And instead of sending them to one of my alts, or sending them to a friend like a normal person would do, I sent them to the character named Tyr, just so it would say Midday sent 999 flowers to Tyr. Living the dream. And yeah, this doesn't feel very chill right now. I'm really relying on lifesteal for the sustain here, so when I target an enemy and then use the wrong skill. Oh, hold on a second here, let's check it out. I mean, obviously we're not going to see the ones they just sent, but... Oh. Somebody else got 2 sets of 999 too. That's pretty competitive. Now, I'm in 2nd place on the kiddo ranking. That's me. I'm definitely not going to keep that rank. Somebody's definitely going to pass me before it goes through. Alright, let's finish these otters off. Or the otters can finish me off, whatever. Oh yeah, no, the ranking updates at 5 a.m.? I don't know why, but for some reason that particular ranking updates at a different time from the from the global reset. The reason why you forgot it's Valentine's Day is because this is not a Valentine's Day stream. But I actually re-dyed my costume pink. Otters. Good thing this game doesn't have a death penalty. Anyway, yeah, I made my costume red. This isn't the normal color that I keep my costume. That's about all I did for Valentine's Day. Oh, and make trouble with people in the Discord this morning. I gave them a free pass in the Discord to post as many Valentine's Day gifts as they wanted. And nobody took me up on it. A couple people just put in a couple. They didn't spam it at all. How depressing. Instead, we got into an involved discussion about plants. Alright, I have taken down all of your friends. Get back here, Salome. You are nothing. Bosses, easy. It's just the ridiculous amount of mobs. Okay, because of the delay, I don't even know what exactly you're saying was based, so I'm gonna assume it was my my free gift pass that I handed everybody out that nobody made use of. Oh, the plants. See, I've got a rose that someone gave me about a decade ago when I graduated from university. So, yeah, I just outed my age here, but whatever. And I dried it, and then I keep it on display because it's really sentimental for me, and it's from a time when I accomplished something big in my life, and I kept it. And, like, it was just a cut rose that they had handed me, right? So, I saved that. And meanwhile, they get in this discussion saying that, like, handing people dying plants isn't very, like, is like, whatever. Like, don't give, why would you give people dead plants? And it's like, well, I mean, you can try roses. I've got, like, I've also got some of the greenery from my brother's wedding from a couple years back. And that kind of stuff is nice to just have on hand, right? It's mementos, right? I like them. And then I've got an African violet that's a cutting from my mom's African violet. So African violets are super easy to propagate. You just cut off one of the leaves and you stick it in soil and you water it for a year. And it'll look like it's just a leaf stuck in the ground for a year until the other leaves start growing. But yeah, I've got a generational African violet. So I think plants can be really sentimental and nice presents. But everybody just thinks of it as like, great, you've handed them a dying plant. I don't know. It's Valentine's Day. I'm sitting here playing video games, just like I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, if I could choose, the only thing I'd change about this moment right now is that I would still have a coffee. Because I am out. And I think I'm almost out of tea. It's a cast iron pot of tea, so it's hard to say from the weight how much tea is left. Whoop. Oh, how many spawns are we going to get? I think it's just the fact that when a flower is cut, it's destined to not survive, right? Ew, that's a mess of eggs. But on the other hand, I went to the grocery store this morning to pick up some milk, and the person in front of me picked up a grocery store bouquet of flowers. And grocery store bouquets are like pretty whatever. They're not the best bouquet in the world. And they were charging like $17 for like 5 roses. Like, that is so much money. And if it is something that that person's not gonna be like holding on to as a memento of a special occasion, yeah, I kind of see how you could look at it as just being a plant that's dying. But I mean, I guess personally I've only ever really received one bouquet. And I kept one flower from it, and that's the one that it's actually on the shelf behind me, because it's the shelf behind me in my office is where I keep all my mementos. If you were to give someone a rose bush and they didn't have anywhere to plant it, like I'm talking like an actual pot with roses in it, that wouldn't be really very different from giving somebody cut roses, because for the most part, if you give someone a plant, do you really expect them to take care of it for the rest of their life? Asking the deep questions. Dissecting flowers. This is not related in the slightest, but have you ever seen photos of radiograph flowers? Like where they x-ray a flower? I mean, it's just a black and white picture of a flower, basically, with like internal details and stuff. But I've always thought those look super, super beautiful, just as art in general. Yeah, I guess it really does depend on the person you're giving it to. Oh no, this has turned into a Valentine's Day stream. We're talking about presents and flowers and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. Google radiograph flowers or x-ray flowers. I think that as an art piece, that's very beautiful. It's almost reset time. Let's see, there's no more chill dungeons left, but I suppose I could go into the S15s. Yeah, my inventory's fine. Right? That's why negatives is a really good way of putting it. I couldn't even come up with that description. But yeah, I think they're really beautiful. I should be able to beat hell mode. Get blown up pictures of bacteria on the wall. There we go. Now we're not on Valentine's Day topics anymore. Where's Salome? This place isn't really chill dungeon because I can't use the controller for it, but I think I should be able to beat it. Nice. Nothing like some spring cleaning before spring. You're ready to go, Estelle. Huesitos? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, sorry. Huestos. Okay, I'll probably wait until her healing skill resets. If you haven't seen this dungeon before, the next boss has an annoying mechanic where he spawns some little flowers called forget-me-nots, I believe. And you can't damage him until you've got 0 forget-me-nots on the field. But also, every time you kill a forget-me-not, you lose 25% of your HP. Oh, nice. So, I'm going to use this skill to avoid taking damage while I kill the forget-me-nots. Oh, geez, I kind of lagged there a bit from how fancy that was. Okay, that wasn't as bad as I went. This morning, when I was doing the dungeon for the quest, I struggled on that boss for like 3 cycles of forget-me-nots because I couldn't take out the forget-me-nots fast enough. And it... oh, okay. It looked like my my dragon wings had glitched there for a second, but it just started counting properly. But yeah, it's a little bit annoying on that boss, because if you don't get the forget-me-nots in a quick succession the first time, they keep respawning every time you kill them. I probably should have saved that for when the army shield is down. That was really dumb. I switched back to controller and then I was trying to trigger Salome's skill with the controller. The intelligence puzzle. Okay, so when I was doing the live stream, I didn't have a mic on because I wasn't super comfortable with the settings for mic. I hate the sound of the keyboard, and I actually haven't gotten rid of it today, so I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to work on a system, or maybe once my keyboard dies. But you probably noticed that I just stopped for a solid 5 minutes there because I was using pen and paper to try and work out the answer to it. And then I wrote one of the prompts down wrong when I was trying to solve it, so ultimately one of my friends pinged me in the Discord and was like, hey, here's the solution, stop wasting time here. But yeah, I threw a timestamp on that spot because I figured other people would be in the same situation as me. Okay, now let's do this for real. But I tried to solve it on paper, you know, because I'm smart enough that I should be able to solve puzzles in a video game, right? I shouldn't need to Google the answers to everything. And if I hadn't written down one of the clues wrong, I would have gotten the right answer. That's my defense. But yeah, a friend on Discord who was watching the stream and seeing me suffer was like, hey, here's the answer. How about you use this? So, that wasn't my intelligence, unfortunately. I think they fell in love with those statues, though, because they started coming up everywhere. Like in the Miasma Bond dungeon as well. They have those statues. Well, I did kind of think that having those big, long live streams left up and visible would help people if they ran into issues. And I even go back to them every once in a while when someone asks a question about a specific quest, because it's just like a full compendium of the entirety of the game before awakening. So I'm glad somebody else found them helpful for that, because that's what I saved them for. I don't think I have actually privated any of the old streams. Ah, slow. Right, so if you see it, just took a huge chunk out of my life when I killed that thing. But with Salome's lifesteal, no problem. There we are. Whew. Getting some frame rate drop from that boss. He's a bit of a doozy. Personally, when I'm leveling up my lower level characters that don't have gear, I stick to just the daily quests, and I don't like grinding out the daily quests on lower level characters all that much, so I only do about 5% per day in the Dimension Hall. But for sure, if you're trying to level up, don't skip your Dimension Hall. And even if you're not like me and going to use the quest EXP books, these things on every single quest, use one on Dimension Hall every day. I'm getting about 5% on my S1 character from Dimension Hall S1. I think pretty soon I'm going to be grinding the S1 dungeons again too. I just have a vendetta against those specific ones. Specifically Dawn Passage. Like, how dare it have a time of day in its name and be that annoying to fight through. I really wish we had better time of day representation in Aura Kingdom. Alright. But yeah, sorry, definitely the fastest way to gain experience on a daily basis is not what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now is purely having fun. I mean, I am getting experience, but this isn't the fastest way to get experience. Stick with the blue daily quests on the maps if your primary goal is experience. If that's what's going to bring you more enjoyment in the game, that's the fastest way to get experience. But personally, I like killing stuff. I'm a very well-balanced individual. And switch to the keyboard for this annoying guy. Ah, shoot, I should have used one more skill. So, 4-star collar, if you're not familiar with how they work, you have the option to use holy skills or lightning skills, and I use exclusively lightning skills. So I've really only got 4 skills that I use, and that's these 3 across the bottom here, and then Nebula. When you've got 2 wings highlighted blue, you get this buff that increases heavy cannon skills. So, the best way to make use of Nebula, which is your absolute hardest hitting skill, is to use your regular skills until you've got 2 blue wings, and then throw out your Nebula, because it's your strongest skill and you want to use it when it's got the buff. And if I was using any of my holy skills, these little winglings on the left-hand side would highlight pink. But I don't use any holy skills. Where did Salome go? Here she is. Right, so now I've got 2 wings, then I throw out the nebula. And watch the boss die. The lightning effects are really wreaking havoc on my frame rate. Wow. And we hit reset, but this place is not chill. So I was only doing it because we had nothing else chill left. And we've only got about 25 minutes left. So if anybody's got any specific requests or questions, now's about the time. Oh, no, I guess I started late. So we've got half an hour left. So if anybody's got any specific requests or questions or anything that you specifically would want to see, let me know and I'll do my best. But keep in mind that this is supposed to be chill, so we're chill. Very chill. Yes, putting the Yandere Eidolon on the thumbnail wasn't exactly the best way to communicate chill. But I had chill in the stream name, right? Amadara, it really depends on the day of the week. So when I'm off work, I just do whatever I feel like. On work days, I do a specific run where basically me and a friend have, oh geez, like 7 or 8 characters that line up. And we run bond dungeons and dimension halls on all of them. But otherwise, it's kind of just whatever I'm feeling like. I don't have a routine per se. I don't think a routine is really what makes a game fun anyway, right? Like I'm not hitting dailies. It's just every day I wanna see what I feel like when I log in. So some days I'll log in and I'll be like, hey, you know what? Today we're doing Eidolon wishes. Some Eidolon is gonna have their dreams come true today. Ronin is a really interesting class because its main mechanic is that soul release. Offhand, I can't remember the exact name of it. That really buffs its damage when it's in the active mode. The thing is that if you're just starting, I really strongly recommend you play as Bard sub. And I know that sounds kind of like, but everybody's Bard sub, even you're a Bard sub, but the reason why everybody's Bard sub is because it adds, it makes it so much smoother to play, I think I want to say. Shinobi sub is a really good debuffing sub, but Bard adds detail damage every time you heal. So if you watch this little guide here, every time I use a healing skill, I'll get a red note. And that's actually these buffs up here, these Tunes of March. Like, look at those buffs. Those are amazing buffs that you just get by popping Ballad once every 10 seconds, once you've got it stacked. If you're playing as a healer main, using offensive skills will give you the green tones, but you want to stick with the red ones if you're using it as a subclass because it's buffs. Bugged. I don't know who Bugged is, so I can't say if I'm aware. But yeah, so for Tachi, if you're trying to play alone, save your Soulstorm thing for whenever you're on a boss. Like for example, right here I'm on a boss, so I'm gonna go my superpower mode. And the benefit on Tachi is that you can actually cancel the active you can actually cancel that mode as soon as you finish killing the boss. So you don't have to wait it out. Like right now, I'm locked in for 30 seconds of god time, I guess you could say. And then 30 seconds of no buffs whatsoever. Because you're going to see once this thing finishes, I'm not going to get any wings for the next 30 seconds. Weak. So Tachi is nice because you can fully control every second that you want your super time. I just realized that when I look that far over there to my screen to see the chat, it looks like I'm winking a lot. I guess the top element for Tachi now would be physical, if you can get enough physical buffs, but physical buffs are a lot harder to get. A while. It'll take you a while. Personally, when I'm going chill, when I'm doing chill leveling up, for me that's usually about 5% per day plus dimension haul. And 5% per day is completely doable even if I'm like just getting off a 12-hour shift and I need to cook dinner and then immediately get to bed. Like less than an hour a day and you can easily do 5% even at S34. So in that respect, even going extremely casually, 20 days for a level up is like very limited time investment, but I think 20 days for a level up is quite long for a lot of people. For me, that's my definition of being chill. But if you're looking to level up as fast as possible, I feel like you're probably just going to burn yourself out if you don't enjoy the grind, right? So, I think, and I've said it a couple times, but I really want to reiterate, the most important thing when you're playing a game is whether or not you're having fun, right? So, if to you, the most important thing to your enjoyment of the game is rushing to awakening, but you don't like grinding dungeons, you don't like grinding dailies, that I think that maybe you'd be better suited in a different game. And I hate telling people that maybe it's not the game for them, because I love Aura Kingdom and I want everybody to play it and have fun with me. But the reality is that that's not, if you're trying to grind just because you want to get to cap level and you're not enjoying grinding, then maybe that's not the goal that you should be working on. Maybe that's not the game you should be playing. There's so many games out there too, right? I just wouldn't want you to feel like you can't enjoy the game unless you get to cap level, and then you get to cap level, and then it's like, honestly, once you get to cap level, you don't get any experience on your character anymore, and that can be a little bit demotivating. When I first hit cap level on my bow, I stopped playing it. I switched to a different character, right? Yeah, like 100%. And I think that's one of the it's advice for all MMOs, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people feel like they like the idea of an MMO, but once they get into it, they find that it's not actually as enjoyable as they thought originally. It in general, MMOs as a genre are very hard to build because they cost a lot, right? And that's why, and I said this earlier in the stream as well, that's why I'm playing a 10-year-old game right now, is because I'm enjoying it, and that's, I like the way the combat feels, I like the way the characters look, I just enjoy playing it, right? But for a lot of people, they like the idea of being in a big open world without liking the idea of the grind. But what was that? What was that Amazon MMO that kind of failed because they wanted to go too hardcore and it turned out people don't like hardcore? Was that New World? I think it's a really good case study for why people don't necessarily like the things that they want, right? Like, even Aura Kingdom had a hardcore mode. Or, what did they call it? We don't have it, but, it's in the rankings somewhere. Hold on. Normal mode? No, it's not in there anymore. So there was a mode in Aura Kingdom that we never got. Well, New World failed because of a lot of reasons, but right off the bat, they originally wanted to make a super PvP heavy game, right? And then at the last minute, it turned out people don't really like the idea of losing everything when they die or the super hardcore PvP mechanics, right? Like, at the last minute, they completely... Like, at the last minute, they had to completely change everything about the game, leading to, like, a bad experience. That was my understanding. I never played it. But, like, people thought they wanted to play a super hardcore PvP-based MMO where when you die in real life. No. But, like, people think they want things that are more, like, punishing until they're the ones that get hit with the punishment, right? So... in that way, like, for example, in Aura Kingdom, one of the things I like the most is that there's no death penalty. So I can just go into BLD thinking, oh geez, I'm never going to beat this, and die 4 times on a boss, and then be able to beat it. Or even with the otters, I went in there and I just killed everything. Slowly taking my time. There was no punishment for having, like... I bet you I took some extra durability damage, yeah, right? Like, I'm at 51 durability, but my durability cap doesn't go down, so there's a lot of friendly things in Aura Kingdom, right? But it's still grind. Yeah, losing progress is kind of the worst. So, before Aura Kingdom, I actually did play the other MMO, or the anime-styled MMO from X Legend, Grand Fantasia. And not only did that have your cap durability would decrease over time as you kept repairing your gear, meaning that eventually your gear would have only 1 durability and basically unusable. I don't know if it actually went to 0. I didn't play long enough to find that out. But then every time you die, you'd lose experience, and it's like, that doesn't really encourage me to try going out of my comfort level, or my comfort area, right? And I mean, I say that as I'm doing my chill dungeons where I don't really take enough damage to die anyway, but... I just feel like people like the idea of MMOs more in concept than they do in practice. Because if your objective is just to exist inside this world of Aura Kingdom, there's got to be something inside that world that you find enjoyable, right? Imperium AO, or PvP everywhere. Okay, I've actually never heard of this one. I guess for me personally, I'm not super big on PvP in general. Like, I'd much rather take a raid over a round of PvP, to be completely honest. Whenever I'm facing off against other players, my heart rate spikes, and then I make bad decisions. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply that just because it was PvP, it was bound to fail. I just meant that because it was a lot more hardcore, like that was what they had been advertising it as, was an extremely hardcore MMO PvP based, where, like I said, if you die in game, you die in real life, it's a joke, of course, but um, I feel like that doesn't appeal to as many people as think they might enjoy it. And it's the same thing with MMOs. I don't think that. Now, I feel like it would be really dumb to say, I don't think there's an MMO that doesn't have grind. But the core gameplay loop of an MMO usually is going through the same content a lot, especially when you're looking at a game that's. Yep. Okay. That greed curse respawned, so I had to use the dragon release. Unacceptable in my chill dungeons. I don't know. I just want people to play games that make them happy. You know? That's the most important thing in my opinions. I'm sorry, Amadare, but I think the fact that they pivoted the entire development of the game at the last minute to be less hardcore because their game testers basically weren't having as much fun does suggest to me that people like the idea of it more than they like actually living through it. That's the impression that I got. But yeah. So if you don't find grind enjoyable, MMOs probably aren't for you, is my impression of the genre. And considering I've just spent the last 2 hours literally just grinding out dungeons, that's, as you can tell, I do find the grind enjoyable. This is my idea of a nice Sunday, because I'm going back to work tomorrow, so today is Sunday in my world. That reminds me that after I'm done the stream, I'll need to prep lunch for the next 3 days. Because if I don't, I'll just be eating canned soup at work for 3 days. That's true. There does need to be a proper reward to encourage the kind of behavior that you want the players to undertake, right? Hey, where did Salome go? She's gone again. Keeps dying. Yeah, I don't want to go too far into the discussion of a new world, because I feel like at some point it's just going to be me talking more about my feelings than information, because like I said, I never played it. But like my roommate plays Final Fantasy 14. That's the MMO one, right? I mean, I don't think she's playing it right now. I think she's taking a break. But that one's not free to play, and the idea of a subscription immediately turns me off of starting a game. Because, like, and I'm sure that applies a lot for. I didn't think the benefits for increasing gathering beyond level 10 weren't much. Here. Yeah, I haven't done a ton of gathering since it got increased either. HP. Ooh, 3% move speed. That's the most important stat in the entire game. I guess I gotta grind to 19 now. It's a really delicate thing, you know, I just wish that people played games that made them happy. That's all. If you're not having fun, you gotta move on, because nobody wants to spend their free time, the time where they should be the most free to do the things that make them happy, because it's time that is not being spent working or sleeping. I just wish that people could find games that make them the most happy, they're most enjoyable, and for me, Aura Kingdom has been that for like a decade. I just want everyone to be happy. That's all. It's a lot to ask, but no, I get a lot of people asking stuff about, like, is there grind in an MMO? And it's like, yeah, there is. And if you're like looking for an MMO that doesn't have any kind of grind, I don't know even how to start suggesting anything to you, right? Because personally, that's the part that I find to be fun. I'm a very well-adjusted and well-balanced individual who just likes to kill things in video games on my days off, right? Yeah, I actually used to, Westeros, I used to say that at the end of every single one of my videos, and I think I should probably start doing it again, because, especially in a game like an MMO, where you've probably put in a decent number of hours, it becomes really easy to get caught up in like the it's a waste if I don't keep playing, like I've put so much time in. What is that? The sunk cost fallacy? Like I've spent all this time playing, but it really is just about finding the things that make you happy to do in your spare time, right? And what do you know? I managed to do a whole 10% on dungeons today. So not only did I have fun killing stuff, I got 10% closer to being able to unlock the next map. And because this is my tagged character, I don't know how visible it is in the stream, but this is my GS character. I kind of felt like she should be able to access all of the maps, right? So I need to level her up. But that's just how I felt this week. Who knows? Next week maybe I'll feel like I'd rather work more on a new video. I mentioned it earlier, but I'm thinking next time. The next topics that I'm debating for the next video are either doing one on farming gold up, because that's obviously a big thing for a lot of new players, is that they're struggling to be able to fund their stuff. And that's no fun. That's 100% not fun if you can't afford the gear that you want. Or just tips and tricks. Like we talked earlier, and some of you guys seem to be quite experienced in the game, but you didn't know how to use Alt to open stacks of items. So I'm sure there's a whole lot of other things like that that people aren't familiar with, that if I just knew that they didn't know, I could enlighten everybody and we'd all have more fun too. Like, if you use Alt on automatic stacking, you can stack all of your inventory across every single page, and if you manually sort your inventory, rest in peace. I don't manually sort my inventory though, that just seems like it takes too much time. but we are coming right up to the end here. I got about 5 minutes left on my originally allocated time. Good rotation for Dragon Trainee? I'm not sure. I've played mine a relatively decent amount, but I haven't put a lot of thought into the rotation because I just really like using that skill that generates those giant buzzsaws and just watching everything die. But I think you could use 2 skills to charge the ice side of the release, then drop the release and switch over to using ice skills, right? Yeah. Well, I was going to switch to my Dragon Trainee and see what's going on there, but nah, let's stick with the chib for the whole stream. She's my cutie. There's the skill with the giant buzzsaws is so cool, especially when you use it on like a group of mobs, because it puts down a field, and then everything inside that field generates a giant buzzsaw. And I don't think each buzzsaw itself has an AoE, but the AoE in which they're standing is like, it's huge. It just generates so many saws. And if you use it on particularly large enemies, the saws scale up to match their size, so you end up with like just an entire field full of just death. It's amazing. I'm a very well balanced individual. That's it's just a really flashy and fun skill to use. But yeah, for sure I play ice. I think the only real viable options are ice, dark, and physical. But like I've said a couple times, the physical skills are a bit harder to take advantage of. Oh shoot, I should have cleaned my inventory. Oh well. Yep. Ooh, my inventory's gonna be a mess. You know, if you're just looking for a harp to get you through for the time being, Questos, you can go to any merchant and just buy harps en masse until you get one that's got the nocturnal substat. Do I have it in my inventory right now? No, I think I left it in my bank. As soon as I finish this, actually I'll just go back now. It's almost time for the stream to be over, so just before I finish up for the day. Yep. Eat up all that LP. I'm pretty sure I've got one in my bank because it was what I was using before I transferred over one for the dungeons. Here you are. You can buy just weapons from merchants to be able to get one of these, which is just a regular weapon that's got the nocturnal effect on it. But if you're thinking ahead, you can buy one that's got move speed as a default stat on it for an extra buff that even crafted weapons don't have. It's not ideal for awakening, but it's perfectly viable for use if you're still leveling up, and it's super, super cheap, so you don't need to craft anything. If you get lucky at an NPC, you can get one pretty quickly. And like I said, this is only level 58, but I actually still use it when I'm normally running on this character. I brought over some gear from my other characters because I wanted it to be super chill today. But normally, yeah, I just use this guy. Because it's got 5% move speed and nocturnal, and you can't get that on a crafted weapon. Boop. But anyway. That's about all for today, though, I think. I gotta get cooking if I want to be able to have something to eat tomorrow at work. So, thanks everybody for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time, and it was a nice chat. I think in the future I'd really like to know how to get like a chat window in in the stream itself. That would be cool. But I'm just a beginning streamer, so thanks for joining me, and I hope we were able to have a nice, relaxing, chill time today. Bye bye!